Hey guys, so as you know, if you watched my previous videos, I've been working on editing my novel, Valor, and it's going great. I'm enjoying the editing process, which I really didn't think I would be because editing has always been my least favorite thing to do, but I'm feeling kind of frustrated while I'm editing, just not creating anything new. I love fixing Valor and making it better, but I really want to keep creating stuff and coming up with new material because it's something that I actually haven't been doing for a while. I've been so focused on working on Valor that I haven't really been producing anything new, even just for fun. So I decided to do a little experiment and bring you guys along. For 5 days, Monday through Friday, I'm going to be writing a poem every day. Now, poetry is not what I usually write. I like longer pieces. I just sometimes feel like I'm not inspired, but honestly, poetry can be about anything. And you get all of those hoity-toity people that say poetry has to have some deeper meaning and every word has to be a metaphor for something. That's not true. I wrote a poem about pancakes the other day. I really like pancakes. They're my favorite breakfast food. So it doesn't really have to be deep. So today I'm going to start my first day and I'm going to record every day in the next 5 days, and I'll tell you what I think I'm going to be writing, and then I will update you on what I actually wrote. If it was what I was supposed to be writing or if I went off on another tangent, you'll get to see that. If you want to do this with me, please feel free to. I'm going to write poems for the next 5 days, but if this is something that you guys enjoy watching or you want to do with me, I can totally schedule another one. Maybe we could do short stories, or I've been really wanting to write an epistolary story. If you don't know what that is, it's almost like a TV show. Like each part of the story is an episode of a TV show. I've been really wanting to do one of those, so maybe we could do that. We could even extend this to a whole month and do a month-long challenge of poems every day, or short stories or every day, or a chapter of an epistolary story every day. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So today, I think I'm going to be writing a poem about fantasy and about a journey, because I've been reading The Fellowship of the Ring and it's really inspired me to write more fantastical stuff. And just for today, we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna set a 15-minute timer. So I have my phone, set my 15-minute timer. I have my journal, which is what I'm going to be writing in. That's another thing. I'm going to be handwriting these poems. I feel like I type a lot faster than I handwrite, but also I think I put in more effort when I handwrite because I'm choosing my words more carefully because it takes me a longer time to put them on the paper. So I'm going to be handwriting these poems. For today, first day, I'm going to set a 15-minute timer on my phone, write for 15 minutes, and then I will check back in with you. Alright guys, so it's actually even a little under 15 minutes. I turned my timer off and I actually got a lot written. I didn't write about a journey necessarily, but I ended up writing about home and the idea of home, and that home changes wherever you go and whoever you are. As you grow up, you become different people, and your home means something different, is somewhere different, and you have to bridge that gap between who you were and who you are, where your home was and where it is now. And I was still inspired by The Fellowship of the Ring because I'm short, I'm 5'3", and people always compare me to a hobbit, which I am not hobbit height. I am taller than hobbit height, thank you very much. Hobbit holes and always staying there, never journeying, just made me think about life and about how sad it would be if I never got to leave, I never got to go see places. I love the idea of traveling. I haven't actually traveled much, but I want to, and it was just fun writing about home and the idea that you will always have a home. You just might need to get to it. That was day 1, and I will tune in tomorrow and let you know what I'm gonna do for day 2. Bye guys. Hey guys, it's Tuesday morning at 8:45 and I've got my journal. I'm sitting here at my kitchen table and I'm ready to write a poem. Not really feeling it today, but that's the whole point of this, is to do it even when I'm not feeling like writing poetry, right? So I think what I'm gonna do today is kind of experiment with shorter phrases and fragments as lines, because when I generally do poetry, I tend to stick to longer stuff just because, like I said, I'm more comfortable with prose and I'm more comfortable with longer pieces. So I just tend to veer towards those. But I think I'm gonna challenge myself today and try to write in like short sentences or fragments for each line and really be concise with the wording that I'm choosing instead of just rambling on and on like I normally do. I think I'm gonna set a 10-minute timer this time because I didn't even use the whole 15 minutes and I wrote 2 pages yesterday. So I'm gonna set a 10-minute timer today and we'll see how that goes and I'll check back in with you. All right, so I wrote my poem and I am the worst judge of things. I swear to you, it took me like 10-12 minutes to write my poem yesterday, and I'm pretty sure it took me over 15 to write this one today. So I think I may just stop setting timers. That's obviously not working for me. But I did stick to the short line thing today. I'm pretty proud of myself for doing that. It was actually really easy to write, which I didn't think it would be because I obviously wasn't super feeling it today, but it was easy to write and I had a lot of fun doing this one. I think that it's really important to title your work. And if you're doing this at home, if you're inspired by this at all and you want to try it, I think that you should try to title every poem that you write. Even if you don't like the title, you give it a name. And when you give it a name, it's something that means more that way, if that makes any kind of sense. I know I sometimes don't make any sense, but it's the creative person in me. We don't always make sense. I just think it's important to have a name to something. Like these poems are their own being. They came into their own kind of. And so I can go back and work on these and I know what it is. It has a name. I don't know. Names are just really important, I think. Comment down below if you agree with me, disagree with me. Names don't mean anything. Names mean everything. I know for me personally, names are the hardest thing to come up with. It takes so long to choose something to represent your work or a character that you made or anything really, to give it that title, to make it into its own object is really difficult, I think. And I think that all begins with the name. I think it's important. If you don't think it's important, let me know. Let me know why you don't think it's important. If you agree with me, let me know why. I'd love to answer all of your comments down below. We can have a discussion maybe. That's it for today, and I will check in tomorrow with my 3rd poem. All right, guys, it's Wednesday. I'm sitting on my couch, and we're gonna write a poem. I don't really know what I'm gonna write about. I don't really know if I'm gonna challenge myself to do anything specific. Should we come up with something? Let's challenge ourselves, right? Because that's the whole point of this, is to write something different and to push myself to write poetry, which I don't normally do. So let's add another challenge. Let's say that I can only write 4 words per line. That's a challenge. It's a challenge I'm doing. I accept. And I also feel like today I'm gonna be writing sideways in my journal, just because I need a change of pace, and that's a great way to switch it up. Even though you don't need to buy anything new or do anything really crazy, just turn your journal sideways and I'll be writing outside of the line. That was a lame joke. All right, 4 words per line. Let's see how this goes. I don't really have any topic that I wanna write on specifically today, so I think I'll just wing it and see what happens. And I'll update you when I'm done. I think this is probably the funnest one I've written this week so far. I just had a really good time writing it. I thought today I would share the titles for the last 3, since yesterday I talked about titling your work and why I think it's important. So the first poem I wrote this week, I titled, "This Will Probably Be Scary." Second poem I titled, "I Will Choose." And this poem that I wrote today, I titled, "Outlandish." So I had a really fun time writing. I stuck to my 4 words per line, and I ended up writing about what it would be like if I created my own universe. And honestly, it's probably a little scary. Nobody wants to live in a universe that I've created, but I would. That'd be awesome, right? I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why I'm doing this and what the purpose of it is, even if these poems suck and nobody's ever going to read them. Because let's be honest, when you're writing poetry, some of your stuff is gonna suck and nobody's ever gonna read it. You're gonna write it and you're gonna say, wow, that's too childish, or that's too shallow. It's not deep enough. It doesn't have enough meaning. I took a creative writing class with this amazing professor. I've had her twice, and she coined this term, I stole it from her, admittedly, but I use it all the time. She said one day in class that we are all collectors of piles of babble. And I thought, oh my God, what an amazing phrase, piles of babble. I love it. I think as writers and as readers, I'm assuming that if you're here, you're a writer or a reader, we are collectors of piles of babble, of words that we like, quotes that we like, phrases that we like. So writing these poems, even if all 5 of them suck and nobody ever sees them, I'm just collecting piles of babble. And we live for those moments where 2 words connect in a way that you never thought they would before, that you'd never heard them before, and that something magical happens. And now you have a phrase to put in your pile of babble and use one day in something else, another project. Every time I read poetry, I circle phrases, I underline them, and I write them in my journal. I obviously say who wrote them, but I add those to my piles of babble to just keep collecting words. That's kind of the point of this, and to collect your own words, to test your brain and make it come up with different kinds of connections that it hasn't before, to then use in later things or use in the thing that you wrote. I'm not saying everybody's poetry sucks. Obviously, some people are very good at it. I'm just not one of those people. But I do enjoy collecting my piles of babble. It's almost like a boneyard when you're writing a longer piece and you decide to scrap a scene or scrap a chapter and you put it somewhere else, you save it just in case you want to use bits of it. That's what I call my boneyard for different novels and projects. So my piles of babble are basically like a boneyard, but for phrases and sentences, not necessarily whole big paragraphs and chapters. But I challenge you, if you're a writer, to have your own pile of babble, or even if you're a reader, to get a journal or even just a piece of paper you keep in your backpack or something and start writing down those phrases, even that you hear. You know, walking around, if you hear somebody say something and you think, wow, I've never heard anybody say that before, it's so peculiar the way they put those words together, remember it, put it in your phone, write it down, and then you have your own pile of babble that you can pull inspiration from or incorporate into your own writing. Because I definitely know that my piles of babble have helped me so much, especially when I have a project for school that I don't have any ideas for. I just flip through and see what's inspired me, all of these other people that have done it and published their work and their words, or even my own old words. I pull from some of those and I write something new, and sometimes it turns out great. You just need that starting point. I'll see you guys on Thursday to write my 4th poem. We are almost done. We're over halfway through and I'm really enjoying it. I think that this is something that I'm probably gonna do again. And if you guys liked this, then I will take you along with me. Hey guys, so it's 9 o'clock on Friday and I was really bad and I didn't film yesterday. I did write a poem though. I just didn't film it for you. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the poem I wrote in my notebook here. It's called A Thank You to a Powerful, Resplendent Woman. And I had a lot of fun writing it. I wrote it kind of as a prose poetry piece, which is what I normally write. I don't normally write versed poetry. It's more like paragraph form. So it was something I was really comfortable with, but I almost wrote it as a thank you letter, which I still think counts as poetry, because poetry is whatever we decide it to be, right? So I wrote that yesterday, and it was exactly what I had set out to write. That was nice to just sit down and get the words out. It probably took me 5 minutes to write this one. It's only a page, it's a little bit shorter than the other ones, but I'm a-okay with that. Today I'm gonna sit down and I'm going to write another poem, obviously. That's what this whole thing is about. I think this poem being the last one that I'm gonna write, for this video at least, I think I want it to be on stillness and reflection, which are topics that have just been weighing on me a little bit. How much time do we really take to sit down and just be still and to think and to be calm? I don't know, I feel like I'm always so anxious and full of energy and doing things, moving, going, and I don't really get a lot of time to sit down and be still and think without anything distracting me. So I think I might write a poem on thinking. We'll see how it goes. And I will check in after and I will wrap up how this week went with all of the poems. I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, so I wrote my last poem and I titled it A Contemplation on My Hollow Places. I ended up writing more about the stillness of my physical body than I did about really mental stillness, which is what I thought I was going to write about, but I'm really happy with the poem. I thought that it went a very interesting place. Again, I didn't set a timer for this one, I just wrote it. I'm done. I wrote 5 poems this week, and if you want to recap, I will let you know what they were called again. I do have to flip through my journal because I don't remember. So Monday's poem was called This Will Probably Be Scary. Tuesday's poem was called I Will Choose. Wednesday's was Outlandish. Yesterday's was a thank you to a powerful, resplendent woman. And today was a contemplation on my hollow places. Even if I don't end up going back to any of these or editing them and fixing them, making them all sparkly and shiny, just the act of sitting down every day and being creative, writing these poems, I think just got me out of that funk I was in from editing so much and not really creating, especially because I'm watching everybody's NaNoWriMo vlogs, and all I want to do is be writing a new book, or a new project really. I have one kind of in mind that I've been working on, just like brainstorming, things like that. But writing these poems and being able to get some words onto a page that are new and sparkly and shiny was really exciting and a fun experiment that I made myself do. So please let me know down below if you liked this, if you would want to do it with me another time. I'm sure we could set up one where we all write poems for a week. I would love to hear some of your poetry, some of your writing, even if you aren't poets like me. I think it's always a great exercise to write something short and to write something where the focus is on the words themselves and not necessarily on plot or character. Really, the focus of a poem is what you're saying and how you're saying it, what words you're choosing, and why you're choosing those words. So I definitely think it's a great exercise, especially if you're having trouble with a scene or something like that. You just can't get the wording right. Really try to hone in on that with as few words as possible. Yeah, let me know down in the comments if you guys would want me to do this again, maybe with short stories like I said, or an epistolary story, and let me know if you would be interested in joining me next time. That was it for this week-long experiment, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.